Good morning. Well, at least it's morning here, and welcome back to another Film Geek movie review. Today, after the day job, I'm going to be hitting the road to check out the new movie, M3GAN. Okay, here we are, the very beginning of the year, and I am super excited to get things started with my new movie reviews. I had a lot of fun with this last year, but I only got started in June. I didn't get to do a whole year of new movie reviews, so this year I am looking forward to it, because the way I do this is I have a membership to the AMC A-List, which allows me to see 3 movies a week, and I try to see all 3 movies and get reviews back to you guys as soon as I humanly can. And now here we are at the beginning of the year in the month of January. Yay! January. January, the well-known dumping ground of Hollywood, where Hollywood's movies that just go out to die are released into theaters. And you know what we're getting things started off with? A PG-13 horror movie. Oh boy! A PG-13 horror slasher, probably, it looks like, about a killer robot girl. Alright, it's plain to see that I have 0 expectations going into this film. I don't really care. I'm hoping that this movie blows my mind. I really am, okay? I know I'm using the old, PG-13 horror movies are bad kind of thing, which there are good PG-13 movies out there that are horror movies. I just haven't seen a slasher film like that yet, and this movie's marketing itself as what looks to be like a slasher film. My problem with that is that it's, like I said, the PG-13 rating only allows for so much. So in a slasher film, one of the most important elements is the kills, and the gorier, the crazier, the more over the top, the better. And with a theatrical release of PG-13, that element of the slasher film is probably not going to be there. We're probably going to have a lot of those setup things, where it's like, oh, someone's about to die, she's got a knife in her hand, and then they'll go into the guy's face, and he'll be like, and maybe some blood will come out of his mouth, and then they'll show her with the knife, like, yeah, so, low expectations, guys. Okay, well, that's all I have. I am going to get out the door because I still have to get to the day job and do a day of work, and then I am off to see the movie M3GAN. Welcome back, just getting home from checking out the movie M3GAN. And you know what, guys? If this is any indication of what I'm to expect for the month of January, well, bring it on, baby, because this movie was a lot of fun from beginning to end. I had a great time, and I can't wait to tell you guys about it. The first thing I'm going to do is start off with the negatives, and then I'm going to end on a high note with the positives. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the obvious, the PG-13 rating. Now, This is a personal preference. This is my feelings on horror. A horror movie should be something that pushes the boundaries of what is acceptable in society. When you are sitting there watching a horror film, you should feel a little offended, a little disgusted, and scared out of your mind. And unfortunately, this film does not deliver on all those categories, but believe me, it's still good. The second thing about this movie that's a little troublesome is the fact this is a very been there, done that before story. This is not the first time that we've seen this, but it's okay because it's presented in such a fun way that it's great. It's okay. I was all right. It felt kind of like comfort food. Even though it's a been there, done that story, it was like sitting there eating a big bowl of mac and cheese while I was watching this film. Now, on to the positives. Number one, I'm going to talk about the performances in the film, or just one in particular. Allison Williams does an excellent job, which, by the way, did you know that she's the daughter of Brian Williams, the reporter? Who knew? But anyways, she's great in this movie. If you're not familiar with her work, she has been in another horror film by the name of Get Out. She played the girlfriend in that movie. You know the girlfriend, everyone's favorite character. Then, the other positive thing I'd like to talk about is the pacing of this film. It does a pretty good job. The beginning of the movie, there is a bit of a slowdown. I was kind of hoping that the movie just kind of took off because I don't feel like you need a lot of explanation in technology gone wild and here we go. But the movie does spend a little bit of time bringing up the background of the robot, how it was built, blah, blah, blah. And unfortunately, it does kind of slow things down because in a movie like this, you're like, when's the killing start? When's the killing start? So it takes a while. Another thing, I thought this movie was a slasher. No, which is okay. This is why it's a positive. It's not a slasher, which, yes, I do personally love slasher films, but a PG-13 slasher would have sucked balls. This film is more of a, well, as I said, technology gone wrong. I would almost consider this film more of a creature feature than I would consider it a slasher film. Then another thing, this is being advertised in some circles as a horror comedy. Guys, I don't feel that way. I do not feel this film was a horror comedy. There are some jokes, don't get me wrong. There is some funny parts in this film. Not enough for it to be considered a comedy. Just because a movie has a couple of jokes in it doesn't make it a comedy. And if it's a horror movie with a couple of jokes in it, that's only because it's trying to lighten the mood a little bit while it's scaring the ever-living hell out of you. A good movie, a good example that blends humor with horror, Barbarian. That whole scene with Justin Long and the measuring, that was comedy gold. But at the whole time, you're still wondering, oh, is he going to be okay? And this film just was like that too, but there just wasn't enough comedy in it to give it the horror comedy genre. That's not a bad thing. That's not a negative. I'm just telling you, if you watch the trailer and you're expecting a slasher film, you are not going to find it in this, okay? So yeah, basically, the best way to put this movie is if you're just looking for a good time, you want to go to see a film where you're going to sit there and shove a bunch of popcorn in your mouth and drink a big old sugary soda, this is the movie for you. It doesn't take a lot. It's just a sit your butt down, open up your eyes, and get entertained kind of film. Not a lot of thought, not a lot of stuff going on in this movie. There is a bit of a message, and again, it's also been there, done that. You can kind of tell it has a theme of technology and how we allow too much technology into our lives, and it doesn't allow us to have the human connection. Gee, where have I heard that before? But still, don't worry. Everything in this film is a little been there, done that, but they present it in such a way that you are not gonna mind. So if you're just looking to turn your brain off for a while, sit there with a big bucket of popcorn and wash it down with sugar water, this is the movie for you. Alright guys, well that's all I got for you today. Thanks again for checking out the Film Geek. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you could do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.